So the news broke out over a day ago that Neve Campbell is back. So now Sidney Prescott, the character, is back, and she will be back in Scream 7. This video, I will be giving you a few details of the news and also what can you probably expect from this change. Quick little background story on why this is happening. This is all happening because they couldn't afford Neve Campbell back in Scream 6. So they had to make the story of Scream 6 revolve around the Carpenter sisters. And a couple of months back, the actress who played Sam got fired from future projects because of anti-Semitic comments that she posted online. And also Jenna Ortega also left, but because of scheduling conflicts. So the two main new characters left the project. Ultimately, they now managed to bring back Neve, and now she's gonna be the main character again. Aside from Neve, they also managed to bring back Kevin Williamson. Kevin Williamson, the writer and creator of the original Scream movies, will be returning for Scream 7 as the director. And this is a very, very big deal, because if there's anybody who understands the Scream movies, it has to be Kevin. Kevin is the guy who knows the lore, who knows understands the entire concepts of the movies. He wrote Scream 1, 2, and 4, and he was absent from the latest two Scream movies, Scream 5 and 6. So what can we expect from Scream 7? And I have a few ideas of what you might expect. I could be wrong, but here is a bit of some predictions of what you might actually see in the future for the franchise now that they managed to bring back Sidney. One of the things I want to mention first on what this movie could be about, this move, is that this entire movie, Scream 7, could actually be a nice closure to the character arc of Sidney. Scream 5 was actually supposed to be that. Scream 5 was supposed to be the passing of the torch from Sidney to the Carpenter sisters, and now we already know what happened with the Carpenter sisters and their characters. But now, this leads me to believe two possible outcomes, and the first outcome they could actually do is obviously do the same thing they did with Scream 5, is finding another successor. They could try doing that, finding another character to take over on Sidney's role, because eventually Neve Campbell, she's not going to be doing Scream forever. I mean, she could, but it's going to come to a point where even the fans are going to get tired of it. For a movie that's supposed to be based on real life, it's supposed to be meta slasher, self-referential, it kind of doesn't make sense for the same character to come back over and over and over again. It's going to come to a point where Scream becomes predictable. So they could do that. They could actually try to find a new set of characters that could take over Sidney's mantle, a final girl, or they could actually try to do something like the second option they could try to do for Scream 7 and onward. They could actually try to do sort of like a Halloween 2018 kind of movie. Well, basically, they would have to do sort of like a movie that completely follows the original Scream movie, but ignores retcons a lot of the previous Scream movies. I mean, that's a crazy idea, retconning a lot of stuff, but it could also refresh the franchise, if you think about it. Take a look, for example, what they did with Halloween 2018, what they did where they actually followed the original Halloween movie, and they actually made a huge time jump, and now they brought back Michael Myers and all that stuff. Get a bit of an idea. Now, this is not really a bad idea, but it's also a very exciting idea, because where do you continue after the original Scream movie? After Billy Loomis and Stu Macher try to kill Sidney and they end up getting defeated, where do you go? So imagine if they do sort of like a alternate timeline after the original Scream movie. Where do you go after? There's so many avenues, so many possibilities, and the only person that I think that can actually tell a story like that could be Kevin Williamson. This is basically what the character Mindy was referring to, a new revelation that was happening in the original movie. Like, what if, like, for example, we already knew of Billy and Sidney, and there was a B story that was happening behind the scenes of Billy fathering a child with a different girl from Sidney's school. That entire B story was used for Scream 5. They could go in that direction, and they could retell something that was happening around that time for Scream 1, or something that was happening after the events of Scream 1 that could be told for Scream 7 or 8 or whatever. Or they could try doing the second option I was referring to, of the alternate timeline, retconning the other Scream sequels, and they just following after the original and doing a what if scenario. What if Dewey was the killer? Or what if Gail Weathers was the killer? Or what if Stu Macher came back, or whatever? I wouldn't even mind if Kincaid was Ghostface. And that's all I have for today. What are your thoughts? What do you want to see for Scream 7 or for the future of the franchise? What do you want to see? What are your predictions? Let me know. And thanks for watching.